Anybody else ever been guilty of this?
Yeah.
That was me. I'll admit it. I don't know how that thing popped off though. I had it locked down, so I don't know if I got the wrong size ball on this thing. Oh well. Shoot. Doesn't happen all the time, but it's happened a couple times, I'll admit. I don't know if I didn't have the hitch locked on, but it's a good thing it didn't happen going down the highway, you know. Curvy mountain roads going about 40 miles per hour, 50 miles per hour. Anyway, so yeah, they are really, this is my little sidekick, by the way. Yeah, he's a little hot right now. I don't know why you still got your winter coat on, boss. And it's about 80s up here in the mountains. But yeah, he goes along for a ride quite a bit now. Little sidekick. Bozzy McGee, I like to call him. So yeah, they are really pushing this World War III psyop right now, aren't they? The latest thing everybody's freaking out about on X and posting old videos of Russian missile tests that, while at the same time saying this is going on 60 miles off the coast of Florida. No, the only thing going on is that there's a couple Russian warships. And I think it's kind of funny how they always have to, like every article that I read, labeled them as nuclear powered. No, they're not carrying nukes, but they're nuclear powered warships, okay guys? Super scary. Down there off the coast of Cuba, I believe it is. And it's not really, this is something that's not that unusual. It's happened in previous administrations. It's just right now this war climate with all the end of the world, you know, fear porn being pumped out by the enemy of the people, corporate news media. This is super scary, guys, you know, and the proximity to the coast of Florida especially, right? I mean, that's the key demographic, right? You got to win over all those right-wing conservatives, basically sounding like more and more like neocons lately. I mean, wasn't it George W. Bush that warned about Iran developing a nuclear bomb? And if we don't act fast, right? If we don't get more and more entangled in wars in the Middle East, then, you know, the next attack could be in the form of a nuclear bomb going off. Isn't that what everybody on the right pretty much is saying right now? That, I mean, it's been trending on X for the last like 3 weeks straight. Nuclear, you know, we're all going nuclear holocaust. It's the same messaging, guys. I don't know, I know a lot of people on social media right now, this little millennial generation hasn't been around too long to notice it. And they just recently like started tuning into politics once it became trendy, right, on social media. And everybody's trying to be an influencer, and, you know, like guys like Tim from Timcast, Beanie Boy. Back when this guy was partaking in Occupy Wall Street rallies, trying to gain attention, and admittedly voting for Obama. This kid. Back when he was doing all that, I was doing stuff like campaigning, diving into politics for my first time for Ron Paul. The Ron Paul Revolution, guys. Anybody remember that? Anybody old enough? I mean, it was like 2008, 2012. I don't think it's that long ago, but oh, we got a road stoppage ahead. All right, let me check out for a second. They're just doing a little tar spraying on the roads up here. So it's a yearly procedure up here to try to keep the roads decent. They said the left side is good, but they just got done spraying the right side, so we'll see. I want to try to avoid getting a bunch of tar speckle on my white truck, you know. All wash my windshield. All right. Anyway, where was I? Where were we, guys? Where were we? Me just bragging about my history, with all these upstart, radical extremist wannabe influencer online lately. Influencers. Like, I just love this this high school mentality of these people that think they understand geopolitics and how the world actually works, when they've only been paying attention for the last 2-3 years, right? Look at this thing. That thing is covered. Nasty. Yeah, so every time they spray the roads like this, it just gets, as you can probably hear, that's a little pea gravel coated in tar, and it just gets caught in your tires and sprinkles all in the undercarriage of the truck. And yeah, it tends to leave little black freckles all over the back end of my truck. Kind of annoying, but it's something that's got to be done. But yeah, so lately the latest thing is Alex Jones and Infowars closing up shop over this Sandy Crook investigation lawsuit, where they're trying to get, what is it, $1.5 billion out of the guy. Just an insane number. And when I watched that, I was watching those court cases back in the day. That wasn't too long ago. When they came up with that kind of a verdict, I mean, it was a clear sign to me that this whole kangaroo court show trial had less to do about Alex Jones as a person, more to do with sending a signal to anybody else out there who tries to follow the Infowars model, right? Sorry for all the noise. I got the window down for the doggy because he's over here baking. Yeah, he's not too bad right now. But yeah, it was more to send a clear message to anybody else out there who wants to follow the example of Alex Jones and create a pretty lucrative business. If you haven't looked into it, Alex Jones and Infowars makes pretty damn good money, guys. I mean, you can't be in a position of Alex Jones, basically on the top, as he's always called himself, the tip of the spear. I was listening to Alex Jones, by the way, back in 1999, 2000, just right before 9/11. And in fact, Alex Jones and Infowars and Jason Burmis with Loose Change documentary that came out after 9/11 had a pretty profound impact on me, I think, my impressionable young mind back in the day. So, I've been keeping tabs for quite a while, guys. I don't know if you can tell just from listening to me. I try to act like I know what I'm talking about sometimes, but yeah, what is that, a good 25 years now? Keeping tabs on conspiracy theory genre, let's say. And, just keeping tabs on what the government's up to, where they're trying to lead us next, what's the latest push for the New World Order, what kind of liberties can we look forward to getting stripped away from us next. And that's why when they hoisted all this COVID nonsense with all the lockdowns and the medical procedures I still can't talk about on my channel, it was pretty obvious to me not to trust the government, right? Just from past, known liars, known criminals who care less about our health or our freedom. Don't trust anything the government tells you to do, right? Especially in a time of crisis. It's for all these people that just make up excuse after excuse for Trump. And, say what you will about Alex Jones. He did pretty much jump on the Trump train, didn't he? He was pretty much full bore, MAGA. And that made Infowars a good deal of money too. Don't negate that little fact, little detail. So what kind of turned me off about Jones for a while there is when he kind of stuck the knife in the back of Rand Paul, since I was part of, like I said before, Ron Paul Revolution. And Rand Paul, the only reason he ran was to continue the legacy of his father, right? He's a little mini-me, Dr. Ron Paul. And what he was doing, I think it was pretty obvious, was trying to build off the momentum of his father over the last 8 years of campaigning. I mean, the energy that Ron Paul had was pretty incredible. Back then, they were questioning the guy's age, right? Now that's not a question, I guess, with Biden. Your mental acuity, it's not an issue anymore for being POTUS, but back then they were questioning Dr. Paul's age. Is he too old to be a president? This guy was campaigning all across the country, back to back, 8 years straight. Rand Paul came along and decided to, work off of that, holding on to the coattails of his father. And, there should have been a massive swell, just a tidal wave, right? After all the marketing that Ron Paul did over the last 8 years, Rand Paul should have been a serious contender. But no, wouldn't you know it, all of a sudden came around lifelong Clinton ally, Donald Trump. After being given the go-ahead, by the way, by Bill Clinton, they said he would do great with Republicans because, they like a good, successful, big-talking businessman, right? So he rebranded himself, right? And at the same time, at this key moment when Rand Paul was still in the debates, going head to head, trying to take down Trump, because he knew, I think it was pretty obvious to Rand Paul, who the shoo-in candidate was at the time. Rand Paul several times tried to take jabs at Trump. I mean, we all know how that ends, right? Anytime anybody tries to attack the Teflon Don, he quickly destroys them. But at the same time, you had Alex Jones, Infowars, sowing all these seeds of doubt against Rand Paul, saying that he wasn't like his father, he was a war hawk, right? Just simply because Rand Paul had learned from his father. I'm pretty sure Ron Paul probably told him this, that you have to kind of play politics in order to get anywhere in politics. Ron Paul was called Dr. No because he would never vote on any bill if it didn't strictly abide by the Constitution. And he made a lot of enemies, and he kind of isolated himself in the process because, when you're in the whorehouse and you're trying to be a saint, it's not really a natural fit, is it? But so you had, what I didn't get is you had Alex Jones kind of turn on Rand Paul at this key moment in time, and at the very same time he was all for 100% behind Trump.
Rand Paul is the best. I trust him. I've known him for, I can't believe it's 19 years, and he's the guy for president. Time flies. I just keep saying 14, 15 years. I've known Rand Paul. Now that I've thought about this, it's just weird how time flies. He'll probably end up being president if we're able to turn this country around. He's got a real shot at it, except for the electronic voting machine fraud. I can read the tea leaves as anybody can.
I'd like to also go back to, though, another question, which is Donald Trump a serious candidate? The reason I ask this is, if you're going to close the internet, realize, America, what that entails. That entails getting rid of the First Amendment, okay? It's no small feat. If you are going to kill the families of terrorists, realize that there's something called the Geneva Convention we're going to have to pull out of. It would defy every norm that is America. So when you ask yourself, whoever you are that think you're going to support Donald Trump, think, do you believe in the Constitution? Are you going to change the Constitution?
Mr. Trump.
First of all, Rand Paul shouldn't even be on this stage. He's number 11. He's got 1% in the polls, and how he got up here, there's far too many people. Anyway.
Dumb move by Rand Paul to keep attacking Donald Trump last night when he's way down in the single digits. Ted Cruz is smart, Rand. You ought to look at what he's doing. And I like you, Rand. I know you're for real. I know you're a gentleman. You started taking the gloves off last night when it came to World War III and stuff and attacks on the internet. That was a legitimate attack on Trump. But, saying he's a kook and a nut and all this stuff, that's what they say about you. I mean, they want you to, come out and badmouth your father. I know full well some of the folks you got working for you do that. Differentiate yourself from your father. Your father is George Washington material in my view. And you know that. And your dad brought you along, and you believe everything your dad believes. They don't like you because they know that, Rand. They know you trying to moderate's not for real. Just be yourself. And you can become president next year. Where's Senator Paul on how I've been censored? Nowhere. Crickets. Where's his dad? Crickets. Ted Cruz has said more defending my free speech than the Pauls have. So that's all I'm saying is Ron Paul and his son need to answer. Because Ron Paul knows what's going on. Where is he? Where is he on his son? Do you want to sit on your high horses? I question mass shootings, Ron Paul. You guys want to sit on your high horses all day long? Okay, well then you answer for how you push the and then don't run your mouths about Trump. Because they're trying to put in prison until you cleaned up your own house, like Jesus said. You want to get the speck out of my eye? Get the beam out of yours.
And I kind of thought at the time that Trump was a joke. I always kind of have, right? I kind of held my tongue while he was in office after the fact. I wasn't this involved in putting out videos at the time. It was just right when COVID kicked off is when I really started producing content. Because I just kind of felt the need to speak out, you know what I mean? And it got me in trouble time and time again with this garbage platform called YouTube. That still, by the way, combs through my, 3 to 4-year-old films to try to find, forbidden speech. Like the last one that they took down was, me daring to associate Billy Goat Gates with some kind of mass depopulation agenda. I can say no more, apparently, because Bill Gates is a protected minority. He is, after all, the second top donor to the WHO. And it's always the WHO, of course, that I'm getting in trouble with on YouTube. Because you can't question the WHO. Unelected bureaucrats, globalist agencies, trying to dictate, and destroy our First Amendment rights, as well as our health freedoms. From what I heard, they're still trying to push through this little pandemic treaty garbage that was pretty much shot down through the first effort, but they never sleep, guys. Don't underestimate the persistence of these satanically inspired elites, right? Hold on a sec, need to try not to get in an accident. Man, these people drive like nuts around here. But anyway, so that's my one, I guess, chip on my shoulder. Some of you might have noticed, I don't hate Alex Jones. I don't, like I said, they were a huge part of my awakening, I guess you could say, my red pill, back 2.5 decades ago at least. And this was, mind you, back when Alex Jones was, doing things like going to the Bohemian Grove, calling out the left-right paradigm. This was back when George W. was in office. And that was one of my favorite, things hearing on Alex Jones was how he would expose the Bush crime family, right? And NAFTA, North American Union, George Bush W. Meeting with, was it just Vicente Fox, whatever his name was? And the push for a North American Union ID card, which now we have Trump, of course, talking about Visa track and trace systems. And now, of course, Trump is all on board Bitcoin, right? It's going to save our economy, right, guys? Bitcoin. And in this classic form, he just put out this post on Truth Social. In classic form, the perfect example of the dialectic in action. Right? Like, CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, bad. Bitcoin, good now, right? No, they're both part of the same agenda to push the world into a cashless society where we'll all have digital IDs with, social credit scores, tied in, of course, with platforms like X, Elon Musk's Everything app, based on the Chinese model Everything app that controls everybody's lives like little slaves over there in China. This beast tech, total enslavement of our financial, no autonomy. Tell me it doesn't have the central bankers shaking in their boots to have a technology rolled out that literally tracks and traces every single financial transaction across the planet, right? Just a forever record of every single financial transaction. Every time you move your money back and forth from this wallet to that wallet to this bank or that bank. We saw what happened here to the trucker convoy in Canada. Yeah, what happened when everybody tried to fund those truckers, try to give them some gas money for all those generators, keep the trucks running. The bank seized their Bitcoin because you have to transfer your Bitcoin over to a bank, right? Know your customer protocols. So in order to buy anything with that precious, digital gold, you still have to go through the financial system, guys. So why do you think you have big companies like Visa, MasterCard, BlackRock, Rothschilds, all buying into Bitcoin? You think it's really grassroots, anti-establishment guys? Is it really gonna, stick it to the man? Finally, defeat the international banking cartels? No, guys. Sorry. Cash is king. If you want to be autonomous at all, keep your transactions small. Keep them local, right? Keep a currency or an asset or a commodity, something that you can store privately, right? And not publicly, published like a public ledger for all the world to see. We've seen in the past how there have been criminals prosecuted based on their Bitcoin or other cryptocurrency transactions. And we've also seen how governments have seized people's digital assets. It's not that hard, guys. And if you look into the history of it, it's pretty obvious by now. I put out videos, this was like 3 years ago, exposing how Satoshi, CIA Toshi, I called him, early on in the after the invention, and was it 2007, I think, really kicked off around 2009. I heard around 2011, actually, part of the one of my Ron Paul buddies at a big rally actually in Wyoming where I got to meet Dr. Paul in person and get some pictures that I've since lost on one of my hard drives. Hopefully I'll be able to recover someday so I can, be like everybody else with their cool Ron Paul pictures, but post it on social media. Virtue signaling.
Come a fair distance, even from another state or two, so that is very great to welcome everybody here and everybody from Wyoming.
Yeah, way back then, 2011, I just looked it up. I think the price of Bitcoin was around $3 to $5, and now it's holding strong at 70 grand. So when you have all the big boys, all the big financial giants backing this stuff, guys, it's pretty obvious that it's nothing that they sold all those early libertarian adopters on, right? It doesn't stick it to the central banks. It isn't private. It isn't decentralized, guys, when you have a handful of wallets that own over 90% of the supply. How does this, destroy the old money wealth system when the old moneyed wealth can just buy into it and monopolize it? Right? Does anybody connect those dots? But, yeah, you have Trump calling himself the crypto president now, fully on board Bitcoin. And like I said, you can't be America first and promote a technology designed to destroy sovereign currencies, you know, albeit they're fiat currencies, but we still have at least the American dollar. If you want to get rid of dollar supremacy, right? The dollar standard around the world, what's that going to do to our standard of living, guys? Has anybody thought this through? Anybody? Any of those little young millennial kids that know nothing about fiscal policy, monetary policy? Have any of you guys thought about what's that going to do once you lose the dollar as the global world standard? What's that going to do to your cost of living, guys? What's that going to do to your standard of living? That's all part of the plan. So you can't be America first and be for a technology like Bitcoin that destroys our national sovereignty, completely destroys our financial freedom, right? Our autonomy, our ability to choose what we want to spend our money on. Because at any moment, guys, they can click this thing off. Okay? You might think you can have a cold storage wallet somewhere, but how are you going to spend it if you're canceled from the entire financial system? How are you going to go buy something? And that's really what it ties into, right, guys? The no buy, no sell. This has been foretold. This has been prophesied for over 2,000 years, guys. The coming mark of the beast. It's in full swing. And if you can have another, like, man, I brought up this example. Could you imagine if Obama was in power when they tried to, I don't like even saying that, when Obama was in office, little sock puppet that Obama was, more likely a Biden was in power over Obama back then. The tried and true swamp critter Biden. How many terms has that guy been in office now? Could you imagine if you had Obama in the White House when they tried to pull all this COVID crap? What kind of a pushback would we have had from the right, guys? Like, remember how controversial Obamacare was back in the day from Republicans? We're not going to have that socialized medicine. Oh, but, front man Trump gets in office, the opiate of the patriot masses, and, everybody just kind of sits on their hands, right? When Trump's declaring a national state of emergency, following WHO/UN mandates over a pandemic. This might get me in trouble with the WHO, but the WHO redefined what a pandemic is to be whatever they want to call it. So, is Trump going to try to be the same kind of little opiate, keep everybody fat and happy, appeased, sitting on their hands, keeping their mouths shut, when they try to push all this digital currency crap, which should be a pretty big red flag for any kind of Christian conservatives out there, right, guys? But not while God's David is in office, right, guys? It must be an act of God. Save America. Save America by going cashless, guys. Yeah. Sell your kids into complete financial servitude that we'll never be able to escape out of. That will one day, if you're a Bible-believing Christian, result in the enforcement. It'll be the tool for the enforcement of the mark of false worship, which literally, guys, if you take this seriously enough, if you take your own religion, if you want to call yourself a Christian, you want to take your own religion seriously enough, the mark of the beast is a pretty serious issue in the Bible. If you do a little reading, it is life or death. It is a matter of losing your eternal fate. Or if you're, God willing, part of the remnant, you'll overcome the mark of the beast and his image. And, I don't know. Like I tell people over and over again, let's get right with God time, guys. We are in some pretty interesting times in human history. And prophecy is being fulfilled at lightning speed right now. You can't even keep track. It's just blinding, right? the headlines every day. I can't even keep track of what's happening next. It's insane. And I try to do this as a hobby, I guess. It's not really a living because I don't make any money off of it, but I can't imagine, most people out there, how uninformed they are on the issues. But that's what they rely on, right? It's politics of the lowest IQ. You can get enough uninformed people to vote for the candidate of choice. I just signed, turn on my truck. I just make sure I'm parked in the right spot. I just saw a girl, and I actually predicted that's what she was up to. I saw somebody actually sitting outside of a Natural Grocers with a petition, and I was like, "Oh man, not another petition!" But I said to my better half that was sitting next to me, I was like, "You know what? I'd actually sign that though if she's signing people up to get Bobby Kennedy on the ballot here in Colorado." Because I missed that rally in Aurora, but I heard Dale Bigtree, I think it was, he opened for Bobby Kennedy. He's also giving a shout out to the show, by the way. At the last COVID rally I met him at in Fort Collins. But one of the speakers talked about how they're trying to get Bobby Kennedy on the ballot here in Colorado, and they're really close. He's almost on every state now. And I said at the time, man, I got to figure out how to sign that. So had both of us sign. Third largest, or the largest out of the three, independent, Republican, or Democrat, the largest voting bloc in America. And he's not going to get represented in the debates. No Bobby Kennedy. They're in the two lousy debates that the American people, I guess, it's all we deserve before we elect our next president. So it's not really about our choice, right, guys? So, like I was trying to say, the point was, and I had a really good discussion with this girl while I was sitting there signing. Very intelligent, very informed, pretty young lady. And she got several other people while I was standing there to sign up too. So people are, paying attention, but the problem is most, intelligent, informed people see no hope in this, it's a joke, right? It's a political circus. What's the point of voting for your next president when it's all pre-scripted? The media continually pounds it in our head that, this is going to be your next president before you even get into the voting booth. I have often, like I said, the first time and only time I voted for a president was for Ron Paul, 2008, 2012. I haven't voted since. I'm still a Republican, registered. I guess in this state, you can still vote for an independent, so that's cool. You don't have to switch party affiliation. Might double check that, but I'm pretty sure if we had enough people, if we saw some hope in a true alternative candidate, I think people would come out in force, and that's what they want to try to avoid. That's why they want to keep somebody like RFK Jr., who, by the way, acts more presidential than any of the other two, quote-unquote alternative choices, right, of the duopoly. He acts more presidential than either of the two of those clowns. And he says things that actually really resonate, make sense. Do I trust anybody 100%? No. Has he made some really weird comments I don't agree with on Gaza and Israel? No. But he's also anti-war, right? And he's not about printing money and funding wars, and he's about bringing our money home, and that's what really resonates. It sounds a whole heck of a lot like Ron Paul did too back in the day, and that's, I guess, maybe what I like about the guy the most. Anyway, so there's a little hope out there, but thanks for watching, everybody. Sign up if you haven't for the petition in this state or your own local state to get Bobby Kennedy on the ballots. And who knows, maybe you'll be like me and, if nothing else, do a protest vote. Maybe get a little more attention to the independent party maybe the next time around, if there is a next time around, right, guys? Anyway, God bless everybody. Nightwatch N8. Till next time. This is Bozzy McGee. Why are you so shy, bud? He wants to go outside, probably. Probably got do a little business. Find a rock or something to take a tinkle on. Anyway, God bless everybody. Nightwatch N8. Till next time. We'll see ya. Get right with God. Remember, King of Kings. If you have the King of Kings ruling over you, you don't need another king, right? You don't need another pope. King of Kings. Self-governed, God-governed. God bless. Nightwatch N8 signing out.